Hello friends, I am RockLeeSmile, and this is Enter the Gungeon. How's it going, everybody? We're going to be playing some of this for YouTube. Of course, I had promised this ages ago, and it's finally time to get around to actually doing it. So I made one critical miscalculation with my idea behind doing Enter the Gungeon content here on YouTube, and that is that this game does not seem to have separate save slots, unfortunately. I don't know what to do with that exactly, so I think I might use YouTube as sort of a place to do training and just generally play the game casually, see if we make progress. I don't know if we will, but it will just be sort of interspersing the streaming content and the Enter the Gungeon YouTube content in both directions. I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. I mean, yeah, there's unlocks, and yeah, there's things that are sort of linear and serialized, but at the same time, the game is generally similar from play to play. And if you're not familiar with Enter the Gungeon, well, let me be the person to introduce it to you to some degree. So, procedurally generated death labyrinth, 200 plus guns, tons and tons of bosses, and crazy bullet hell type moments coming up. I mean, you've probably seen, hopefully, some of the coverage I've done on this in the past. I've done a number of preview streams, I've done a couple of indie impression style, quick play type things. And now the game is actually launched and actually released, so it's time to get to the actual judgment of said game, and also the playing of it. So we've got 4 characters off the bat here we can play as. We've got the Marine, we've got the Pilot, we've got the Convict, and we've got my personal favorite, the Hunter, each of which has its own kind of special moment to it. Well, the Soldier has an ammo resupply, as well as a piece of armor that comes with him. The Pilot has a lockpick, which is quite helpful, lets you get into some chests you might not be able to get into. The Convict has Molotov cocktails, and I'm not sure what that photo is. Actually, I haven't played as the Convict all that much, and the Hunter has a dog which can dig up special items that are randomly found around the variety of dungeons that we will be crawling through. We've also got a crossbow, which is quite nice. You might be wondering, why am I not talking about this character over here behind the Hunter's crossbow? That's the co-op character. We don't have access to this one. So let's start on the left. We'll do a run as the Marine. I don't have a huge bias toward one character or another. I think we'll just play as the Soldier for today. Like I said, I mean, the Hunter is my favorite, but in general, I like all of them to some degree. So let's just jump into a run. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff we could look around, dick around inside of this area, but instead we will just start it up and see if we can get things going and flowing, as I describe, of course, the gameplay. I'll only do this probably for the first episode, try and outline what exactly is happening. Beyond that, I think most of you have probably seen a little bit of the gameplay in varieties of other places, so it would feel a bit redundant. I've already taken a damage as the Soldier, which is not a great start. Literally the first room. So basically we've got WASD movement, I'm playing on keyboard. We've got scroll wheel to change weapons when I have them. We can also hold control to change weapons in a slowed down time mode, which is really useful when you're fighting against bosses. We've got something known as blanks, which are mapped to the Q key. Those will clear all bullets on the screen. And we've got a dodge roll, which is probably the most important button aside from shoot. We can also flip over tables, use them as cover, slide them around, and try and be clever in our approach toward not getting hit. We've got to leverage all the opportunities that we can get. Many of those opportunities come in the form of little bits and bobs that will accrue throughout our gameplay. We're going to be running into a number of passive and active items. You'll see those down on the bottom left. Like I mentioned, there is that ammo resupply that I've got, that little walkie-talkie there. That will be used on the spacebar when I want it to resupply myself with one full set of ammo. There's a number of guns, like I said, we'll probably be running into about, I don't know, between 5 and 10 of them on this run, out of a total of over 200, many of which are unlockable and not yet in my weapon library, which that's the meta element. Every time we defeat a boss, we earn what's known as hegemony credits, which are then spent in a shop, which then add things to the item pool to be accessed from later. We're going to drop that on that guy. Those little switches there seem to cause these candelabras, or chandeliers rather, to fall on our enemies. So there's a number of secrets and hidden things about this game, many of which I don't know at this point. I'm actually quite early in my Gungeon gameplay. Granted, I've got about 25 hours of gameplay in the game in total, but most of those were pre-launch. So I don't actually know a lot of the things that come down to, like, the nitty-gritty moment-to-moment stuff that comes with hours and hours and hours of play through a final version of the game. So this is a statue, the Shrine to a Forgotten Bullet. We can lay down our arms, and I assume what this does is allow us to trade a gun for some health. but I'm not sure because I don't think I've used this statue anytime recently. We also have the great ability to hold down tab to bring up this map, which allows us to then teleport from room to room anywhere that's got one of these little revolver, what the hell are those things called? It's not a magazine, it's the thing you load the bullets into, you know. I've known this word before and it eludes me at this very moment. But anyway, you can click on those and teleport to them, which makes the floor traversal a lot more bearable than something like Isaac when you've got to go back and backtrack and things like that. If I want to go to a room, I basically just go to the closest room and then walk over to it. This right here is a one-way passage. You can see there's like a little X mark. Looks like a PlayStation controller's X button. I can only open this gate from the other side, so I've got to find how that loops around and open it up from that side. That'll allow us back in. So there's a good variety of enemies to this game, many of which I have not seen, and many of which we will be able to access through the, what is it called, the Ammonomicon or whatever? This guy here, yeah, the Ammonomicon. This is our encyclopedia of all things Gungeon. As you can see, we've got a massive variety of guns that we have either heard of, seen, or not picked up. Then we've got a number of ones that are simply not even available to see what they are, and then, of course, the ones that are lit up are the ones that I have access to right now and could drop at any given moment. We've got this here for the set of items that we can run into, which is almost, if not more massive than the amount of guns. Then we've got, of course, the bestiary, which has a big old spoiler of all the enemies that I've seen going forward. Maybe I'll not scroll to the bottom of that. Then the bosses we've run into, and that goes down and down. Well, maybe not quite as long as the other ones, but it's very useful to know that this is there. Unlike Isaac, the game is fairly transparent about what items and enemies might do, and it's quite nice to be able to actually have that ability to strategize based on the proper information instead of having to sort of surmise what things may or may not be, then guess wrong for a while and have it actually, well, come back to bite you in the ass a little bit. So what other things have I not talked about? Well, we've got keys. On our top menu there, we've got the keys. We've got 2 of those right now. We'll run through keys pretty quickly, and we've also got what I've been calling shells, which are our currency to be expended at the variety of different shops that we might run into. And there's a number of NPCs, which we'll run into very much Dark Souls style, that we then send back to our sort of pseudo-Firelink Shrine, which is the place we start runs from, where you know, where we started in the beginning of the episode, where you select a character. I actually had to find the ability to spend my hegemony credits by finding the NPC locked up in a cage, and I had to find a special key to unlock that. So the level of, like, Matryoshka-style secret unlocking is actually quite cool. I feel this game does have some legs for sure. Oh god, we found a Mimic on our very first chest we've opened. This is not a great place to fight a Mimic, actually. It's a pretty small room with nothing to hide behind. And this guy has quite a bit of health. I believe it might drop something if I am able to kill it. We've got so much to talk about, I don't want to die early. Runs in this can... Okay, well, we made it. Runs in this can really vary, sometimes very short, down to like 10-15 minutes, sometimes quite long, closer to 40 minutes. I was hoping to start us off strong, but maybe it makes reasonable sense that I might not actually make it super far on the first episode. Granted, again, I have some practice in this game, and I generally make it to floor 3 or 4 a lot of the time these days, which is a far cry from where I started. So Thunk is a passive item, increases damage at the cost of bullet velocity. These faceted bullets glitter with colors unseen in the depths of the Gungeon. Interesting. So that's what's on the other side of that wall. My next priority now is going to be to try to find the shop on this floor, because I really need to trade some shells for health if possible. Having 1 heart and going into a boss, especially when I got a passive item and not an extra gun, the hope is, you know, we'll improve on our proper crappy gun here as soon as possible, and we didn't. There's the boss. So that's not a great sign. But yeah, we'll just try to maximize our options as much as possible before going forward. Now, I generally play Isaac in games like this as a bit of a completionist. That's probably not going to change a lot for this game. There are moments where I feel like I get on a bit of a roll and I might rush a little bit, but it's not super frequent. Okay, we picked up another armor piece, which actually lets me put my helmet back on, and we did find our shop as well. So on offer, we've got a ruby bracelet, which I don't think I've picked up before, a couple of keys, a couple of primers, and a full and half heart piece. I can just afford the full heart. Sadly, I'm going to have to grab it right now. It's not an ideal way to spend your money this early in the game. We generally want to have as much as we can to bring on to the next floor. Now, there is a character which I believe lives in one of the floor grates that'll show up in the shop, and I am able to trade guns for money with that guy, and if I end up with a really bad gun, the idea is that hopefully I'll be able to leverage that toward a better proposition soon after. I don't have any other guns to leverage right now, so I've really just got to make it through on my own wits and dodge roll abilities. A lot of it is just, it comes down to memorizing what the enemies do and having very quick reaction times. When you have a really, really bad gun, though, or a starting weapon like this, I wouldn't say this is a really bad gun, but it's just not powerful the way I need it to be, especially since everything scales as we get further up. But when I have a bad gun, it's going to really quickly spiral us out of control, sort of like, and if you'll pardon, oh, we got another blue chest. This might not be a gun. Okay, it is a gun. Sticky crossbow. Reload, explode. Sounds good. Never had this before. But like with Isaac, if you end up finding yourself in a position where you, say, maybe miss a devil deal early on, that's going to put you in a down position right from the beginning. And there's also an element of that to this, where if you end up making it through a floor, and okay, I'm not 100% clear on this, and don't bother to clarify necessarily. I don't think it's necessary to know yet. But if you find yourself in a position where you kill a boss without taking any damage, you get more stuff. And I don't know what exactly that entails, whether you get more, like double the hegemony credits, double the health, double the weapons or item drops. I don't know, but you get more stuff. And usually that's a really good thing to keep you spiraling in the upward direction. This half heart costs 20. I don't have 20. Got 15. So I think we're not going to be able to pick that up. We're just going to teleport over to the boss. Hopefully pick up the Gatling Gull as our boss here. Let's see. It is indeed the Gatling Gull, one of the most common bosses that I tend to run into. And there are a number of bosses you can run into on the first floor. So there is some diversity. Most of the bosses seem pretty balanced in general. There's one or two exceptions to that where I feel maybe some tuning is in order. But it's still quite early yet. And we'll see what Dodge Roll Games, the developer, decides to do with that kind of information. So I'm going in basically with nothing. I just got a couple of blanks and my default pistol with a couple of passive... that's not true. I have the sticky crossbow, actually. Oh, that's a hit. How does this handle... Okay, so when I, like, switch away from the weapon, is that... I don't know what causes it to... Oh, okay, we got it. What causes the crossbow to explode? This could be a great thing, actually. Just trying to dodge and dodge and dodge while also watching where those arrows are going. Okay. What causes... Okay, reloading seems to cause them to explode. That's good news. Glad I know that now. So there's some learning that happens on a regular basis while we're playing. We're going to be figuring out how guns work, how bosses work, how enemies work, all of that stuff all at the same time. Thank goodness for this crossbow that I almost forgot I had for a split second. This is probably what's going to make and not break this run, as it turns out. Okay, reload. Got him. Not a bad weapon. Pretty low on ammo, unfortunately, but not a bad weapon in general. This is the hegemony credit I had talked about. Looks like a little holographic H. We're going to grab that. Looks like only one this time. We picked up the honeycomb as our item. Be prepared. What does this do again? I actually forget. Passive. The honeycomb bonds with the user, releasing bees to protect their hive when damaged. Okay, so we found an item that essentially rewards me for taking damage. That's not a good start for me. In general, I want to not take damage at any point at all. But that's just going to happen. We're going to take it. So I guess it's good to know we've got a backup plan. Off we go to the second floor. Now, as far as the meta progression for this, I'm not 100% apprised on where we end up in total. I've made it on my very best run to floor 4 on the boss of that. I know there's a 5th floor. There may be a floor after that even. I don't know that part. Okay, we've already taken a hit. Very early on this floor to take a hit. Not super proud of that. We're going to actually pop a blank there, because Pampa bless. And that's just going to keep me from taking a bit of damage. I'm trying to get better at my blank usage. One of my biggest problems early on was I just didn't know what I was doing with regard to that, and I ended up taking a lot of unnecessary damage. So yeah, that's one of my main things I'm trying to work on. Let's see how many shots this guy takes. That was far too many shots, actually. I also have to wonder, and I'm not clear on this either, and you don't have to answer me either. Do you get rewards proportionately to how little damage you take per room? Like, not taking any damage rewards you with a key or something? So maybe that meta progression that I was talking about, like with Isaac, seems to happen... Oh, that's bad. Seems to happen even on a much more frequent basis. If that is indeed the case, we shall see. I've also noticed sort of Spelunky-style shortcuts are a thing in this. I haven't unlocked any yet, but they do exist. This is probably pretty bad. Good thing that pushes them back, right? Really should have looked toward maybe popping some of those barrels. Okay, having a lot of difficulty targeting these guys right now. And who's left over here? Oh, another Cubulon. Got it. Alright, rewarded us with a blank, even though I got hit, so I guess that does sort of answer that to a little degree. No quick teleporter over there, so I guess I'll just hop, skip, and jump. Really bad luck that we ended up just getting the one gun. I was hoping we'd have more stuff going on by now, but we do have keys at least, so there is a possibility that we turn into something better. This is not great. Alright, let's just kind of hide behind this wall. Let this guy kind of whittle himself down by... You're killing me here. I can't really dodge all of that junk all at once every single time. And we're gonna be out of crossbow ammo soon. Oh, that's a bad shot. You know what could be kind of clever, actually? You could use this as a remote detonator for something like a barrel. If it impales the barrel but does not explode the barrel? I don't know if that's a thing, but it might be. And if it is, that's kind of cool. Oh, what are you? Winchester for 42. Sadly, I might need health a bit more than I need another gun, and I need both. There's also no ammo on offer, which sucks, because I'm down to very low, so I'm going to have to move back to the Marine sidearm unless I buy something. Let's see how the next couple of rooms go. If I can maybe pull a gun out of a chest soon, then I'll have an easy decision about what I want to do. Since there's still a little bit of variability left to this floor, I want to see what kind of presents might be in store for me. Or non-presents, as it might end up being. Alright, lots of bullet sharks on this one. That could be a problem if I get trapped in a corner. I'm trying not to let that happen, but I really don't want to hang out in the middle. And we actually were rewarded there with a half heart, which is not a common occurrence, actually. The health is extremely sparse in this game. But part of the general meta progression here is just being able to manage your health to such a immense degree that really the only damage you hardly ever take is it just comes down to boss fights. And if you can get to that position, you'll probably make it to floor 3 pretty regularly. Alright, we got a chest. It's a green chest, not a blue chest. And it rewards us with the Hegemony Rifle. So precise. This is, I think, a gun I've never had before. I've had a different Hegemony gun, but it's not this one. And this seems alright. Oh, crap. Get out of the corner. That would have been a good blank moment, but I didn't do it. I literally blanked on the blanks. Not even a joke, just what I did. Okay, this little squid, the green thing over his head means this guy's possessed. You gotta go find the mage in the room and shoot him. There he is. Thankfully a very weak enemy. The health to the enemies scales drastically from one floor to the next, so while you might feel slightly powerful on floor 1, I would go so far as to say that enemies might gain like 20% more HP on the second floor, and that might just continue to be the scale as we go on further and further down into the Gungeon, and that's kind of a terrifying proposition when I might not be gaining guns that are equivalently scaled. So I might very quickly find myself outpaced and then dead, which is kind of what happens a lot of the time, especially if we end up with the tank boss on floor 3. Alright, we do have a boss here. Kind of want to continue exploring just in case I find another gun, but at least I've got something now. Just in case I don't find anything better. This will maybe make it work for the boss. Might have been smart to conserve ammo, but I'm just going to roll with the punches, see what happens. Now, it is sort of randomized how this is going to proceed each room. The rooms themselves... Okay, the accuracy is not great here. The rooms themselves are handmade, but the configuration of the rooms and how they stitch together is randomized. So there's a bit of versatility to that. I don't tend to see a lot of the same rooms, so I'm pretty happy there's a good degree of variability there. And in general, I think it aids a lot in the replayability of the whole game, just to make sure that there's enough for people to see and do. And granted, again, I only have about 20 hours. I have a feeling that sentiment probably won't hold up on the same scale as something like Isaac. Probably we'll see most of the content within about 150 or so. I was told there was a beta tester who was involved for Gungeon that saw mostly everything in about 100 hours. But I'm also a bit dense and tend to do everything twice, so we'll see. We'll see how that works. You guys can also feel free to chime in how you feel about the concept of me doing runs in this here on YouTube versus the concept of me doing runs on Twitch, and the overlap of those two things, because I'm going to be unlocking stuff on one side. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Just to finish my thought, though, it's going to be interesting to see, since there's not 2 save slots, what people think about that, or if it's a thing, or if people even want to watch this here on YouTube. Hopefully you do, because I think this is a great venue for me to vent about life stuff in general, and maybe after 2 or 3 episodes, the episodes won't be so focused on gameplay and might get a bit more meandery. That's how I like my Let's Plays to generally go. So this is like a super lock, which means that there's a special character on the other side of this. Not a great use of a key, but for the sake of showing you in this video, yep, there's some kind of Indie Mao 5 character in the center of this jail cell, and it requires a special key to get into, which I don't have. There is the chance we could still get it from this one remaining room over here. Well, no, never mind. Actually, this is another special room. Requires me to either have something to put on the altar, or maybe I need to find a room that has something on the altar already. I don't know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know yet. The one nice thing about doing YouTube videos for this is I don't have to have live-action spoilers running on the right side of my peripheral vision. I appreciate that, and I want to learn about this game sort of as I go. I'm going to buy the Winchester, just in case I get super screwed. I hope this is not a bad use of my money. I don't think I've had this gun before, so let's see what I get. Oh, okay, it's the Ammoconda. What is he called? Ammoconda, sorry. I botched the pun, forgive me. Pretty good enemy to fight, I would say. Not ultimately the most difficult boss, but also not easy either, so in general just gets to show off the versatility and intrigue and unique design decisions behind these bosses. As you can see, the segments of the Ammoconda are made up of turrets of some kind, as well as we've got some sort of straight lines being fired, like we're playing a game of Snake. I used a proper blank there. The Ammoconda, by the way, is one of the few enemies that I think I have mastered, aka perfected, in a prior run. So there's normally an achievement for perfecting each enemy. I won't be getting that achievement. I think it unlocks a gun as well. Alright, well, he freaking rushed me down, the big jerk. I'm trying to be optimistic here. I feel like there's an okay chance of me winning this fight. But it's a little bit scary right now. It's a little bit touch and go. I don't have any more blanks. And I'm trying to just stay alive. I can't really track its movement off screen very well. Please, please, everybody slow down. Okay, I'm down to a half health, and I'm dead. Rip in pepperonis me. Well, that's been our first run as the soldier, or the marine rather. We were killed by the Ammoconda in a run that I thought I could have made better of. So we'll press escape, return to the breach, and I'll show you quickly the Hegemony store. It doesn't really matter which character I pick. The credits are actually universal. Also, this little settlement that we've got here seems to be building up over a variety of runs. There's more and more things there to see. And look at the subtle detail here. This is so cool. There's like this little skull design happening from the shadow, since I don't know if you noticed on the title screen, we're inside of the Gungeon, so that's the skull with the light coming through it, which is a very nice little bit of detail there. And I haven't really talked much about why I like this game as much as I do, but maybe I'll do that more on the next episode. But I really do. I really like this game a whole lot, if I haven't made that abundantly clear. So I got 5 credits. I could buy a mailbox, which is a gun that shoots mail. There is hot lead, which I suppose some sort of a passive bullet upgrade. The heart lunchbox, which I don't know what that does at all. Just box, which I don't have enough money to buy. I'm guessing a Metal Gear Solid reference. There's a lot of references in this game, by the way. And once I clear out all 6 of these items, then it'll give us the next tier going up. I suppose they get better and better. I don't know if that's entirely true, but that's the observation I made so far. Let's pick up... Should I stack the deck towards guns? Or do I want something that might give me more health? I'll buy the gun, because it's silly. Mailbox unlocked. So yeah, like I said, I had to unlock these characters for them to even populate this area. The dude that you might have seen over to the right of everything, and there's still some rooms here that are boarded up and shut, like this one here, as well as that one there. This is our shortcut man, and I suppose once I get one of the elevator setups fixed enough, maybe this door will open and allow me to take a shortcut here and skip down to like the 2nd or 3rd floor. This guy over here is a carnival dude. He's like sort of like a rogue legacy carnival barker, allows you to play games. The idea is you got to shoot some stuff with a limited amount of ammo. If you make it, then he gives you a reward. Costs money to play every time, of course, too. So yeah, those are the NPCs I've gotten so far. There's more. I don't know how many more, and I don't want to know how many more yet, and this is the tutorial over here, which there might be secrets in. I haven't explored it since pre-release. I will go back and look at that at some point. But that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Very much appreciate you being here. There's about 1 million people playing Gungeon right now, so I appreciate you watching me play it, if you did. And make sure you leave a like if you also like this episode, because I'd appreciate that as well. If you want to stick around, let me know what you think about this as a series. Do you want to watch me do more runs? Do you want to not watch me do more runs and watch me play this on Twitch? Do you want to not watch me play this game ever again and play something else instead? Feel free to comment to your heart's content about those topics and more. So thanks again. I will see you on the next one. Hope you have a great night. Talk to you all later.